When I first saw the trailer for this film, I immediately thought, wow, what a piece of shit. But I thought it looked like a cool concept, and I saw that it was based on a book, so I decided, I'll buy the book, I'll read the book. It looks pretty cool. So I read the book, and I was like, wow, that was a pretty good book. But this really, I don't know, this seems pretty unfilmable. But after much deliberation, I came to the conclusion that I'd just watch the movie as a movie and wouldn't compare it to the book as I did so. And so, after now having seen the movie, I can now say that my initial impressions were pretty accurate. Now this movie has a whole host of problems, so I'll just talk about what it does well first. First, it has a very good opening credit sequence. Second, it has very good music. And third, they do a pretty good casting job. I think they might have stuck too close to the book in regard to dialogue. Because when you're reading the book, some of these lines, they're kind of silly, but you can intellectualize them and just take them for what they are. But actually seeing someone say these lines, it really just becomes sort of silly and laughable. It also feels very wooden is another problem. Because it feels like they've actually just got the book there and they're just reading from it. They're like, hey, you vicious little son of a bitch. Hey, wait, she wanted me to do it. No! Beats the shit out of them. I mean, this stuff they're saying, no one would ever talk like this. It's really disappointing. They also do something that I was afraid they were going to do because it's directed by Mr. Zack Snyder, director of 300. I was afraid that they were going to amp up the violence way too much, and what do you know, they did. I think they want to try to showcase that comic book movies aren't just for kids anymore, but they can't do this by using any adult themes or anything like that. They have to do it in the dumbest possible way. They just try to shove it in your face by using gratuitous violence and sexuality, and in the end, it's not adult, it's juvenile. Now, with regard to the story, Watchmen is really a very complex story, and you really have to be paying very close attention or you're going to get lost and you're going to have to go back and read the other pages. But the narrative here doesn't flow cohesively. I mean, it's like someone told a bunch of directors, okay, here, recreate this scene from this book, and then that's going to be it. And then after they did that, they just took all the scenes and played them in succession. It doesn't feel like there's like a continuous narrative. It really just feels like each of these is like a one-shot, and then the next thing, it's like, and what about this, and what about this? And in the book, there's enough information to where you're not completely in the dark, but you want to know what's going on. In the movie, when they get to the big reveal, it's basically just like, I was basically like, oh yeah, this is a mystery, I forgot. This movie is living proof that when you adapt a book, faith is not everything. And at 2 hours and 40 minutes, this was almost unbearable. At the end of the movie, Laurie makes a comment. She says, John would say, nothing ever ends. Just like this movie, I thought to myself. Well, that is unfortunate. But now, on a lighter note, let's move on to everyone's favorite segment. Hey Core, what do you think of this film?
Ah, Core. Did you read the book this movie was based on?
What book was it?
Watchmen. I thought you, of all people, would be one to look that information up before you submitted your review to your editor.
I wonder what she's going to have to say about my essay.
It's actually called a film review. And I'm sure she'll enjoy it because you do write such splendid and insightful reviews, I must say.
Do you read the thing I said about George Washington?
Yeah. When you compared him to the Night Owl, that was great.
What was your essay? What did you say?
It's not an essay. It was a film review. And I guess mine was basically about how faith isn't everything when you're adapting a book and you need other stuff to keep the film going. But this segment isn't really about me, Core. The people want to know what you think about these movies. So, what would you give this movie out of, let's say, 100 points?
25 points.
Ooh, what a meager sum. But I guess appropriate in this case. Anyway, I do enjoy our talks, Core, but I think it's time to go now. Good morrow.
I do appreciate our talks. Core, what a crazy cat. Always saying essay instead of review. What an enticing character. His personality glitters with luminosity. But Core appreciates your feedback too, so why don't you leave a comment saying what you thought about Core's performance in this wonderful video. Well, it's unfortunate that movie sucked. That's it for the review. Good morrow.